everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I'm going to be grading and just talking about this Patriots draft. I honestly I want to give this draft a grade as a whole, and as a whole, I grade this draft about an A. There were some picks that I'm not too crazy about, but in total, I liked pretty much every pick. I don't think there was anybody who I'm like, oh, we shouldn't have taken this guy, or oh, we shouldn't have drafted him, or he wasn't a need. But I'm just going to get it started off right away with UNC quarterback Drake May, who was the Patriots' first pick and the third pick of the draft. I'm going to give this guy an A+. 4,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, and 7 ints his freshman year. And his junior year, because he redshirted his first year, was 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 9 ints. Now, we took a step back, but so did his weapons. He lost his number one guy in Josh Downs to the draft. So, I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass. And, I mean, not too much to say that most of you already know, or already don't know. He has a massive arm. He can throw it far. He's got all the talent in the world, but all the potential to bust. So I believe he could be a top 10 guy, even top 5 guy, even the best in the league at one point in his career. But he also has that potential to be a no one, or just kind of being known as a horror story. You know, you'll see him in a YouTube thumbnail saying, "What happened to this third overall pick?" So he has the potential to either be on the very bottom of the spectrum or the top. It's kind of up to our coaching and how he plays. But with our next pick, it seems like the Patriots want to build their offense around this guy, because they drafted Washington wide receiver Jalen Polk. I've seen this guy be compared to his own teammate in Roma Dunze, because they're both very physical guys. And that's what I wanted to hear. Physical. I graded this guy about an A, not an A+, because even though I like the fact that he's physical, his speed could be better. But you might be wondering, why do you care so much about his physicalness? That's because of how Drake May plays. Drake May is a guy who plays a physical game. He uses his receivers' strength and catching ability a lot. If you watch his highlights, he is just testing the guys downfield a lot. He will be hucking that up to his receiver, even if he's being tightly covered. Now, the throw is almost always perfect right in his hands. But if you're a small guy, or you're not very physical trying to catch the ball, that ball could be swatted away. So this is why I like Jalen Polk. He will be a guy who can get in front of that ball and can catch it. And he's not going to let a cornerback bully him, and he's going to break tackles. He's a physical dude. So I love this pick. Like I said, he's about just an A, just because he could be faster. But his physicalness outweighs that almost entirely, and his fit in this new offensive system. With our next pick, we draft Caeden Wallace. I give this guy about B+, just because of his potential. He also fills a need in left tackle. Now, in his college career, he does play right tackle, but I do think he could be moved to left tackle. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it can be done, and I've done it myself. And now I'm not a college level athlete. I'm a high school athlete, and I'm not even that good. But I've played both sides of the line, and I played on both regularly, and I've played both sides in one game. And it's not the easiest thing ever, because it's like you have to go from having your left leg back to having your right leg back, and it's a whole different ball game, even though it doesn't sound very serious. But it's something that you can pretty easily get past. It just takes a little bit to get used to. So I do think that's where they're going to play on next season, because obviously they're not drafting him to replace Michael Onwenu. when we just re-signed him, and he's pretty much the focal point of our O-line. But he has one trait that I love in O-lineman, especially something I try to do myself in staying on his blocks. People, a lot of the time, especially younger, like, around my level, you'll see the guy kind of gets by them a little bit and they just give up. They just quit the block. They just let them go by. It's like, oh, well, whatever. I already lost. But when you do that, when you have this big, tenacious, as the reports say, effort to stay to his blocks, that can cause some holding fouls, but I take that over giving up, because you have no idea what happens, especially when you have Drake May. He might kind of get around him, and then all of a sudden, if you're following him, you can get back in front of him and stop him from getting your guy. So I just like it. It's harder to explain kind of why, but if you know about offensive linemen, you need to stay on your guy, even if he's kind of beating you. He's also good at, noticing a linebacker blitz, and catching it, which is good. But not too crazy important for a tackle, but maybe in these higher levels of play, it's more important than I know. But he also can be a bit too high when he's blocking, like not exactly standing, but kind of just high, like crouching pretty high, which is not exactly what you want, because if you've never played O-line, the lower you are, the harder it is to push you back, which is pretty important, because most of your power from your blocks comes from your legs. And if you have a good big base with your legs, it's easier to kind of get in their way and stop them from pushing you. And he also can be kind of blown by against top speed levels. Like, if you are really fast, you can probably kind of get by him kind of easy. But these are things that pretty much, if you just go and get them ironed out early on in training camp, can be, gone pretty easy. But overall, like I said, about a B+, because he's not exactly all there. He's got some issues that need to be fixed, but once they're fixed, he'll be good. But with the next pick in the 4th round, they picked another lineman in Caeden Robinson. I grade him about a B because I like his raw skill. He is a big, strong dude. He has got all the physical talents in the world. He's not going to get bullied by bigger dudes, bigger D tackles. He's not going to get smacked away, but he does have more technical weaknesses. Like, he can get fooled easy by blitzes and by, I don't know what people call them, but, like the D tackle going somewhere where he's not meant to be, basically. He has those issues, so I think if you leave him on the bench for a year, he could be good and could maybe even start, but don't expect this guy to be getting much playing time this year. So, like I said, a B-, a B. But with the next pick, we take Javon Baker, or Backer, however you want to say it, but I'm pretty sure it's Baker. If you've been around and you've kind of been seeing what people are saying, everybody loves this pick, and I also love this pick. I am shocked that he managed to fall to this pick. I mean, just looking at his raw stats, this year alone he had 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns, which is great. And he averaged 22 yards per pass, which is incredible. He's just like Jalen Polk, a physical guy, and I like... you know what? I am not going to say that because that will sound incredibly weird, but he matches with Drake May's playing style very well, and I think will mesh in the offense good. I like this pick a lot. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get. It can depend on how he does during training season, but I do think he might phase out Kendrick Bourne or KJ Osborne, but we'll see. So I give Javon Barker an A. An A+, just because of how much, um, you know, how I don't know, value. There you go. That's what I was thinking of. He has a lot of value at this pick because he fell way more than he was supposed to. He could have been a late second, early third round guy, but he fell to us in the early fourth round. So incredible. It's kind of like a Keyshawn Boutte situation where if he doesn't work out, it's like, oh well, we didn't lose too much for him, and if he does, it's like, oh well, we only used a fourth round pick and we got someone amazing, right? But the next pick in the draft was the first and only defensive guy in the entire draft, which is usually not what happens in Patriots draft classes. This is great to see. But it is cornerback Marcellus Dial. Looking at his stats, he should have entered the draft last year because he did really good last year. He had 3 interceptions, 12 PEDs, and 45 tackles, but he stayed, and that kind of lowered his draft stock. But he, this season, had 10 PEDs, 0 ints, and 36 tackles. From what I can tell, he's got the ability to be a good cornerback in the league. But right now, it's not all there. I think if you let him sit and get mentored by Jonathan Jones or by our other cornerbacks and the cornerback coaches, and you let him sit for 1, maybe 2 years, I think he could get consistent playing time and find himself as a pretty big piece in the defense. I like his pick. It's the 4th round, I believe. So it's sorry, no, this is a 6th round. So it's a 6th round pick, so it's not like important. So you're gonna probably take a guy who you see probably has that potential to be pretty good. But the next pick, this pick was a shocker to me and to pretty much every other Pats fan. We picked quarterback Joe Milton from Tennessee. Now, I can see why. So I'm gonna grade this pick about a B. Actually, no, a B plus. And I just realized I forgot to grade Marcellus Dial. So I'm gonna give Marcellus Dial a grade of a C plus. But back on Joe Milton. Sorry about that. Joe Milton, B plus. It's just a great value pick in the 6th round. I mean, just look at his size. He is 6'5", 244 pounds. NFL scouts say he could be a tight end. I think he might even be the next Taysom Hill in the NFL. But looking at his raw stats this year, he had 2,813 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So not the craziest statistical season of all time. But if you look at his abilities, it's absurd. He has an insane arm. Insane. He has the biggest arm in college football, maybe even all of football. So that is going to be really cool to see. I can totally see why I would pick this guy because he'd be not only a great backup, but also just could be even a versatile piece for the offense. That's what I see it as. So I think he will be good. I think he'll definitely at least make the roster. And I like his pick, so B+. And with the final pick in our draft, the Patriots Mr. Irrelevant is my favorite pick in the entire draft. And tight end Jaheim Bell. A+. A+. Like, I'm not exactly a big Florida State fan. I'm more of a Cal football fan. But I've always liked Florida State. I've always liked them pretty much since I started getting into college football. And I saw him last year, and I thought, oh, he's good, right? This guy's good. He's a big dude. I mean, athletic guy. So I kept mocking him to the Patriots in the 3rd round. I even saw him go in mock drafts in the 2nd round. And yet, there were like 5 tight ends who went before him, which is absurd to me. He is great. I mean, and he's also very versatile. He had 503 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. And he had a rushing touchdown too. He's also a good blocker. I like his guy. I like him a lot. Personally, probably one of the bigger steals, and maybe even the entire draft. I like this a lot. Not like this a lot. I not too much to say. We need a backup tight end, even though we did sign the guy who played for the Bengals. I definitely see him getting a good chunk of time on the field as a blocker and maybe even as a receiver. Maybe kind of playing the role that Pharaoh Brown played last year. I like him. I definitely think if you look at his highlights, which will probably be playing on the screen right now, he makes good catches. He gets open. My favorite pick, like I said. Um, but that ends the draft, and I honestly am so hyped for next season. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, this team is unsavable. We're pretty much destroyed. We're pretty much cooked." Blah blah blah. I always had a little hope in me, but I guess I kind of felt the same way for a lot of the offseason, especially when we didn't do that much during free agency. But this draft just redeemed pretty much all hope in pretty much all the Patriots fans. I know that these can be kind of iffy, and people who you think will be good aren't good, and people who you think won't be good will be good. But I like just on the paper, this is an amazing draft class. We had two great steals on the offense. We have people to beef up our offensive line, which we also desperately needed help with, and we got ourselves another cornerback to add to that room because we do kind of need one. So I am extremely happy with how this draft went, and rate the draft down below on a scale of 1 star to 5 star, I guess, and tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. If you think my opinion's stupid, if you think Drake May sucks, or if you think that Joe Milton will be a starter next year or something, feel free to say whatever you want in the comment section. But beyond that, I hope you had a great day, and I hope you enjoyed watching that draft as much as I did. And let's get on to rookie minicamp and to soon enough the next NFL season. But like I said, thank you for watching. Have a great day.